Hi, it's Dave Oates from FinderMonkey and Joanna North Associates, back with another one of our weekly videos. A bit of a perhaps more sombre topic this week. I wanted to talk about predominantly about talking about death and how that obviously impacts a lot of the work that we do, and something that we frequently find that the person we're looking for may have passed away. When I told one of my colleagues that we were going to talk about death this week, he was a bit like, oh, it's difficult to talk about, but I think it's really important that we do talk about it, because we invariably come across it. It happens, and the good news is there's lots of things that we can still do, I suppose, even when somebody's died. One of the things we think about initially is kind of supporting our clients to share difficult news like that, and making sure we do that. If it's something that we find and obviously need to tell our clients, we'll do that in a sensitive way, provide them with some help, support and guidance when we have to share such difficult news. But I think it's the bereavement that people feel when somebody has died that perhaps it depends on the circumstances, but I often think about people looking for birth parents and they find that they've died, or sometimes when somebody might be looking for an adopted adult who's died, and that can be really difficult. But it's quite strange to think to grieve for somebody that you've perhaps know about but never really known, never grown up with alongside, and kind of know the ins and outs of their life. So it's a very sad process, really, in the sense that you first get to know that somebody's dead and you'd had great hopes and expectations to perhaps have contact and meet that person one day and get to know them. But then what we find is the positives that we begin to take from it is that we can find people who will hopefully help us learn more about that person and share that information with our clients, so that they can get to know all about them from somebody hopefully that knew them well and is happy to share that information. That's not always the easiest of information. Not everybody has a picture book life that's been straightforward. In fact, most people don't. But I always find that people want the truth, and they want the full story, and they just want to get a real feel and understanding for what kind of a life somebody's had when they find out they've died in that way. So I think it's, like I say, really important to talk about it. The other thing that somebody asked me today, and this is kind of the thing that sparked me off to talk about death this week, was wanting to know how to find out where somebody was laid to rest. And it's a really good question. There are lots of potential ways to find that out. There are lots of things online these days. You can find it via websites like Ancestry, If I Might Pass, the genealogical websites that are really helpful for this stuff. They use other websites that have got collated this kind of information. I think the biggest two that I'm aware of would be Find a Grave and billiongraves.com. They obviously have collating that information and continue to collect it, and put it online. But it's not complete, doesn't have everybody's resting place on there. So you're not going to find the information from there. Not everybody's going to find the information they need on there. If we're looking for somebody's place of rest, then the best way we find actually is to find somebody who knew them, who can tell us where it is. That is probably the simple, easiest way to do it, but that's not always possible. Sometimes because you don't feel it's appropriate to contact somebody. Sometimes you can't find somebody to contact and ask. So the other way would be to find out where the person died and contact the local authority there. Most local authorities will have a department within their council that will hold such records. Certainly municipal graveyards and things like that, they will have records of who's been laid to rest there. But also some will collect information for local church graveyards as well, but not all do, from my experience. If you know that somebody lived in a particular village, I always contact the local church there, because that's a great place to start. And my experience of contacting churches is usually really, really helpful, and want to kind of provide that information to you if you're asking for it. Sometimes we find that people don't have a resting place, so that can be difficult. You might not find it for everybody, but I'd say there are a few resources there that we often will turn to for help. So that's the online stuff like Billion Graves and findagrave.com. And contacting the local authority. That's probably the best two places to start, other than contacting a person who might have known the person who can help you. I hope that's been helpful. If anybody's got any questions around that, please feel free to get in touch and ask. But otherwise, I will see you on next week's video. We'll be back with another video.